So today we're going to be talking about angels and the angelic beings. This book is called The Angel Keys and the Angelic Sigil Keys and Calls. And this is one of the books that I also use as well. I haven't used this book in a very long time. It has multiple different angels in this book. And I'll go through the book a little bit. So first it starts off with the virtues and who are the virtues and what they govern over. And then it goes into the angels of thrones. Then it goes into the archangels. And then it goes into, I think they're the Shem angels, but don't quote me as yet until I actually look. So I think it goes into the 72 Shem angels. Yeah, I definitely think that's the 72 Shem angels because I have another book. Now, this book is really a very fast, quick book. Referencing how to contact the angels, what they govern, how like what to say. It's a mini ritual, and the reason why I say mini ritual because you're not doing a pentagram, you're not doing a hexagram, you're just getting right into it, and you're actually using the sigils. Now, if you're not familiar with the sigils, these are sigils. So how you actually activate the sigils is actually putting the emotion in the sigil and looking at the sigil. Now, when I first started doing this book, I would use the sigil the way it's recommended. But I have used this book in many different ways, and I have seen it actually work for me and benefit me. Now, do I feel it has this Zelius connection? Where I see things work immediately? No. I don't feel like the connection in this book was an automatically Zelius connection. I felt like I had more connection when I use invoking, using the 6-pointed star, and using the 5-pointed star with the pentagram and the hexagram. I also felt like I had more Zelius connection when I did the lighting of the candle and when I actually contacted Jove. And that's where I saw more Zelius connection. Now, keep in mind that everything somebody tells you may not work for you. And it may not work for you because you may not be connecting to that in that aspect. Because everything is energy and you have to resonate with whatever you want to connect with. Also, your mind has to be right when you're actually going to these angelic beings, because you also have to place them in your subconscious mind and place what you're desiring in your subconscious mind for you to attract it into the material plane. Now, I wanna explain this. Where you put your energy, is exactly what blossoms. So if you put your energy on negativity, then negativity blossom. If you put your energy on a relationship, only thinking about the negativity in the relationship, that's where it blossoms. If you only think about your career advancing, that's where it blossoms. If you only think about everything that's always happening to you is bad, then that's what blossoms. And when I say blossom, that's what you're going to ignite. That's what's going to be the biggest things in your life, because you are subconsciously bringing things into reality based on your thoughts, right? So whatever you're thinking, if it's negative, that's what you're constantly bringing in. So when you are trying to make that connection, and even though you're going to angelic beings, you also have to be the head and the lead to manifest and attract what you want into this realm, because you won't be able to attract them because you already put in obstacles and blockage in on bringing it into the material, because everything starts on the astral plane, right? So you're attracting things from the astral plane and bringing it into our material plane, right? And in order for you to make these things work, you have to have set up the energy. The energy has to be attracting back to you. So if I wanted to get a job, I know that on Thursday, the planet Jupiter is ruling, and I will start all my rituals pertaining to Thursday. I'll start it on Thursday. I will pay attention to the month, the moon phases of the month, right? So I will go and I'll look up what is waning, what is waxing. Now, waxing, I know that I could bring things in. I could pray on that day. I can meditate on that day. I can invoke on that day. I can light the candle on that day. I could write petitions on that day. Underneath that month of the waxing, the moon is waxing. Now I know that if the moon is waning, then I know that I will write petitions of trying to remove blockage. I would light the candle on a black or white candle, trying to remove the negativity out of my life, like obstacles, blockage, holding me back or whatever. Right now on top of the candle, I know that I'll have to sit with this candle and gaze into this candle to put my energy into this candle. I know that I would, if I'm talking to the Archangel Zadkiel on underneath the ruling Thursday, I'm asking to remove what negativity is holding me back. Although it requests for you not to do an invocation on the waning moon, but I'm going to be honest with you, I have done an invocation on every single moon. Now, I'll be honest with you, there's times where I saw some things work and some things took longer to work, and I'm not sure if it's because of the moon, but I'm pretty sure it is because of the moon. And what I'm doing this time around is really paying attention to the moon before I ask what I want to ask. Now, sometimes I have in the past, I have walked into a job and literally got it the same day. And I guess the moon was right that day, because I got it the same day. I have literally been hired the same exact day, walking out of the interview place knowing that I have the job based on what I done before getting the job. All right, before I even walked into this job, where the moon was and what I asked for and how I actually set that day up. Now, keep in mind that there's so many things that you can do to actually create things on your path, right? So you're attracting and you're bringing things into your world. If you want to get a relationship, you know that you have to attract that, right? You have to attract that frequency, that vibration back to you. If you want to get healthy, like I spoke about me having COVID and literally having my respiratory fail, my COVID covered my liver. They thought my kidneys was going to fail on me. My heart was going to fail because of the COVID being all over my organs. If you want certain things into this realm, you have to follow the order of this realm. You have to understand that there's rules to the realm that we live in. And if you don't abide by the rules, there's a lot of times that you will be hit with your karmatic lesson because you didn't understand how the realm operate. Now, you have to keep in mind that we live in a world that everything we do has consequences if you're not abiding within the laws of the rule and abiding by the time frame. Right? So when I say time frame, I'm more going to say the timeline. So there's timelines when you are supposed to get certain things or certain things supposed to come in. When you literally do an invocation and you bring something into your reality, that may not be on the timeline you were supposed to get it. Right? And that's the magic about it. you're pulling things. So understand, when you're taking things out of your timeline and speeding it up to you because you're tapping into your destiny, you're tapping into the spirit sensation and attracting things to you much faster than it was supposed to happen, that's when you actually get you get a backlash. Like there was this movie with Loki, and he changed his timeline, and then all of a sudden the person who was governing the timeline was upset, and they kind of like capture him. Very similar to, you can't come off your timeline because it's part of your lesson. It's part of the lesson that you are supposed to have. Sometimes people may be in a situation where they're out of a job for 2-3 years. They're going through some kind of dry spell where they just can't get anything working for them. Some people may be in a situation where they want a relationship, and it's now the 5th year and they still don't have somebody as yet. Those things has to do with lessons, and lessons to learn, and you have to figure out and learn whatever lessons you are under to change that path. Now, this is where you have to understand the realm that we live in. If you're on a specific timeline and things is not going the way you want it to go, now this is time for you to reinvent yourself, to become on a different frequency, become the person that you desire to be. Where if you want a relationship, you have to act as if you are in a relationship, not pertaining that you're saying, okay, I'm in a relationship, I need to stay home every single day because if I was in a relationship, I wouldn't be outside. No, I mean, like, treat people how you would want to be treated, the people around you, the loved ones around you, so you can attract that back to you, that love and that energy. But keep in mind, asking and requesting from the angelic beings to get a person in your life, you can. Requesting for a better job so you can get income, or you can actually create wealth, you can. But sometimes when we make that zealous change without making a change for ourselves, where our vibration and frequency didn't connect to that, it may come into a way that we are interfering with the timeline. And this is where the hexagram, the banishing of a hexagram, comes in. I haven't showed you guys that as yet. Well, the banishing of a hexagram is going to banish the planet Saturn, which is the ruling planet for your basically for your karma, right? Just like the tree of life, the heaven, Binna is the one who is ruling your karma. You will, even if you go a little bit deeper into some of the books that I'm going to start recommending you guys to have and read, you're going to learn about something called a Damien, where they also are the one holding you back in obstacles with the karma. You go into Osiris Scroll, which is a very, very book that you need to be very advanced to read that book. That book is very, I would not say for the simple mind. I will not say for someone who is now starting off to touch an Osiris Scroll, but that book will show you that karma comes all from the afterlife, right? So, and that's like a self workbook. It is a book that is very dangerous if you, because that book, it really kind of just walks you to the afterlife. And it is not a book that I would recommend someone who's now starting off. You need to be very advanced if you want to go ahead and start reading those Cyber Scrolls. But let's get back on the right note. Those books, as you start going into a little bit more deeper, you will start realizing that karma plays with a lot of lessons, and you're getting lessons from every single place. So karma plays with a lot. Now, the hexagram, to do the banishing of the hexagram, it's the 6-pointed star. As you know, that I taught you already how to do the banishing of the pentagram, which is totally different from the banishing of the hexagram. The banishing of the hexagram is banishing out the planetaries who are governing over the karmatic lessons that you may endure in your life. That could be very difficult experiences on your soul journey. And then the banishing is, with the pentagram, is removing these low subtle energies, negative energies, you know, many different forces that actually is negative, and you're holding dominance and governance over that spear. Well, your spear, when you perform the banishing of the pentagram. So it's two different things. So banishing a pentagram and banishing a hexagram is different. What's difference between the pentagram, when you're drawing it, is a 5-pointed star, and then the hexagram is a 6-pointed star. And as I told you before, the hexagram has to do with the macro. So it has to do with the universe. It has to do with everything that's outside of the forces of yourself. And then the pentagram has to do with your spear, where it is controlling the forces within your own spear. So there's a big difference between banishing hexagram, banishing pentagram. So as we go more deeper into the lessons of me teaching you more, you will understand the difference between pentagram and hexagram, and I'll show you the difference, how to actually banish the hexagram, which is banishing the karmatic lessons. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you soon next week Sunday.